What's going on, guys? Gab here, and today I thought we would do something a little bit different. Kind of gathered that our day-to-day lives are a little bit boring and not as exciting as they usually would be. So I came up with the idea of shooting a day in the life POV style type video, sort of capturing what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis and some of the things that I've been doing to kind of get me through this period. Thought we'd use an action cam, and the camera that we're going to use is the DJI OSMO ACTION. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of the TV show Breaking Bad, not only because of the storyline, but because of the way that it's shot. A lot of the scenes in Breaking Bad include really creative POV shots, which kind of immerse the viewer into the story that's being told. And I thought that I would try and do the same thing today with the Osmo. Before we get into filming, let's go over the camera specs of the Osmo real quick. So the Osmo shoots 4K at up to 60 frames a second, and it also shoots 4K HDR video. HDR basically improves the dynamic range of the image, and it kind of preserves the details and the highlights and the shadows, and it gives you a more even image, particularly in scenes that aren't lit too well. The Osmo is also waterproof and dust proof, and it has inbuilt stabilization called rock steady mode. Probably one of the most impressive features of the Osmo is the dual color screens. The Osmo has a 2.25 inch back HD touchscreen and a 1.4 inch HD screen on the front. Front screen is really handy when you're in tight situations, or if you're trying to film yourself or vlogging, traveling, anything like that. I've been mounting the Osmo in some pretty crazy spots over the last few days, and having that front screen and allowing me to see what my image looks like while standing in front of the camera has been really helpful. So the first few shots I thought I would capture today were actually in my bedroom. I actually mounted the Osmo on my window shades. I literally just sat it on there, no mount, no nothing, and it fit perfectly. Obviously, one of the benefits of it being so light is that you can put it in places that you normally wouldn't put a camera. I also managed to rig it to a C-stand, which I put above my bed to give me a top-down POV of me sort of waking up, getting out of bed, going to the window before heading downstairs. I really wanted to capture myself making coffee in the morning because it's something that I do every morning, and I think that the process also would look really cool on camera, especially with a few of these different little camera techniques and tricks, hiding the camera and mounting it in different positions and sort of doing some cool camera moves that you normally wouldn't see. So the first thing that I decided to test out was the adhesive mounts that come with the Osmo. I decided to mount it onto my fridge and shoot facing back down towards the water filter in the fridge that I use to fill up my coffee percolator in the morning. I then decided to place the Osmo on the kitchen bench facing upwards, and I sprinkled all the coffee grains directly down onto the lens to kind of give you that impression that you're shooting up through perspex, or you're sort of inside the coffee percolator as you're pouring the coffee into it. I actually put the Osmo inside the stove, turned the stove on, and it fit inside there without getting burnt, which was pretty impressive. And I also placed it on a tea towel, which I used as a slider to kind of create some smooth in and out movements while I was making the coffee. Once the coffee was made, I thought that this was probably the best time to test out the 60 frames per second feature. Obviously, recording in 60 frames per second allows you to slow that down later when you're editing. So any sort of fast movement or fast paced type of shot will work really well in capturing that whole motion in real time. So I decided to pour the coffee and then do a nice little move around the cup as it was going down into the mug in order to capture that in slow motion. One of the benefits of living in Australia at the moment means that we are allowed to actually leave our houses to go and exercise. I've been going for walks, runs, or sometimes I'll mix it up and I'll go play soccer. So today I thought I would hop in the car and try and get some cool shots on the way to the soccer pitch. I use the adhesive mounts again to mount the camera to the side mirror, in the trunk of the car, and also above the wheel of the car. And I captured some different shots and time lapses of getting from point A to point B. This is probably one of the most exciting parts of my day because it means that I can actually leave the house and do something different. So once I got to the oval, I decided to put the Osmo on the highly fashionable chest mount in order to get that POV top-down shot of me playing soccer. Once I had the chest mount on, I did a few drills, ran around, dribbled, did some juggling, and I thought that this would be the perfect time to test out the camera's rock steady function. I wanted to see if shooting at 24 frames per second in real time with the rock steady mode stabilized the footage enough so that I could use it in my edit, even though I was kind of running around and jumping all over the place. Once I finished playing, I hopped in the car and headed back home. So aside from making breakfast and heading out for some exercise, those are pretty much the highlights of my day. The rest of my day includes sitting behind my desk for a few hours working, going through emails, editing videos, photos, all the rest of it. I thought the best way to capture this part of my day would be through a time lapse. So I set up the Osmo to record a time lapse and a few different positions of me just sitting at my desk, doing some work, answering a couple of calls, just doing normal day-to-day stuff. Aside from this, I haven't really been doing too much apart from just chilling, watching some Netflix, playing some video games. One of the things that I have been doing a lot more of recently though is cleaning, and I think that's probably because I've been spending way too much time inside, which is something that I never thought I would actually film, but it actually turned out to be quite an interesting perspective. Once again, I mounted the Osmo to the base of my vacuum cleaner and decided to go around and vacuum the carpet under some different chairs and cupboards, and sort of would capture that motion of passing in and out and through objects that I probably wouldn't usually be able to get a camera through. So that has pretty much been my days for the past month or so. I try my best to be as creative as possible today while capturing myself doing all of those things, and this was the final result. Alright, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It was definitely a challenge for me to sort of get creative and think outside the box. I think limiting yourself in a sense allows you to be a little bit more creative, and shooting just on the Osmo today really reinforced that for me. My day today wasn't necessarily exciting, it was actually quite boring, but I think that the way that I captured it and the way that I have presented it to you guys is somewhat exciting because it makes you look at things from a perspective that you wouldn't usually. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this in the comments. Let me know what was your favorite shot, or if you would change any of the shots, or what you would have done differently. And I hope that you learned something and you can hopefully go away and create something similar yourselves. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.